Today's video is dedicated to Casey McClara. Thank you, Casey. Vial Smasher the Fierce and Tymna the Weaver versus Atraxa's Praetor's Voice, and then a couple of Morophon the Boundless players. And we've got 3 colours there, including getting a tap land out of the way, so yeah, turn 3 Painful Truths I think will be okay. And a mana rock there as well. We're just going to have to limp our way up to it, get down a tap land and hope that no one ramps out like crazy. I have a feeling that the Morophon players may well ramp like crazy to get into their commander. Kills goes for a Scryland Temple of Mystery, and I know that his is God Tribal, so yeah, new god's coming out with the new set Kaldheim. That will be releasing in a week or so, so maybe he'll be able to update this with the new gods. And the other 2 randoms are just following suit by getting out tap lands of their own. And it's Aetherflux Reservoir, so let's just go for the Godless Shrine here. And we'll hold up Path to Exile and not use it. The first spell of the game coming from Morophon, and it looks like that is a Slivers deck then. Diffusion Sliver. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay 2. They also throw down a spell book for no max hand size. Then Terramorphic Expanse being cracked by the Atraxa. This deck is brought to us by Casey McClara, by the way, who supports us at the Mythic tier. So he is able to submit a deck for the channel to be made into a gameplay video. And he's able to do that once a month, so he's asked me to do the Tymna and Vial Smasher video again because I did make some edits to the deck at the end of the last video. I've still kept the budget in mind because it's not one of these really expensive decks with Mana Crypts in it and things, so I tried to keep that in mind. It could really do with Mana Crypt and Smothering Tithe and Wheel of Fortune, expensive stuff like that. But I think this is a paper list from Casey, so tried to keep that in mind and made some edits that he could actually make with his deck without spending hundreds if not thousands of dollars on it. Anyway, Bojuka Bog coming into play for the Morophon player and exiling our land. Yeah, wanted to get rid of the fetch as opposed to the Terramorphic. And the Sliver player just passing through the turn, as does the Atraxa player after getting down another land. I think the Flash Sliver is 2 in green, so maybe they're holding that up. Might just be counter magic though. Do we run the Aetherflux Reservoir into a single piece of blue mana? Well, that's another land, so that's good. Yeah, I think we can hold up Terminate. Let's go for the Vial Smasher here. And it's noteworthy that the Sliver player is holding up priority over there, so it might be that they've got some counter magic. The first god comes into play for God Tribal, Athreos, God of the Passage. And getting a shock into play tapped, I think. And the Sliver player just passing through the turn again, Smothering Tithe for Atraxa. We've got a Generous Gift for that. I might go for the Generous Gift there. Yeah, might have to go for that. We'll get a land into play first. That can be a Sacred Foundry. We draw into a Talisman, so yeah, Talisman and Generous Gift I think is okay. So they'll get 1 treasure before that gets blown up. Probably should have gone for Generous Gift first actually, so that we deal an extra damage to someone. If the Atraxa player stays in this by 1 life, then you'll know why. Anyway, let's go for Generous Gift onto Smothering Tithe straight away before it gets too many treasures. And then I'm not going to block anything anyway, so let's just swing in towards Billy Kills. Our Golthian Enchantress, so a God Tribal Enchantress deck, and that makes sense because a lot of the gods are enchantment creatures. Now let's hope the Sliver player actually manages to get into a land here, and there we go, making a 3rd land. And that allows them into Tempered Sliver. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put a plus counter on it, but not swinging in with the blue Sliver, surprisingly. Atraxa playing and cracking and evolving wilds there. They have gotten down Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx at some point as well, which is noteworthy. So they should be able to get down their commander here if they want to. But instead deciding to go for a Ajani Steadfast, so this might be Super Friends. And it is First Strike and Lifelink that will probably come in at us for blowing up their Smothering Tithe. And there we are. And then it's round to our turn. We grab ourselves a Lightning Greaves. So how's about Painful Truths and a Terminate onto the Elephant, maybe? Then we can all start swinging in at Ajani. Yeah, if we swing in at Ajani, we're not going to deal combat damage to a player, so Tymna, there's not really much point in getting into. Let's blow up the Elephant. Dealing 2 damage to the Atraxa player. Oh, and I didn't know we could redirect damage to Planeswalkers with this. Yeah, so we'll deal it to the Ajani. So that's 2 damage going on there. Yeah, if I'd known that, I probably would have gone for the Painful Truths first. But lesson learned. It'll encourage the Sliver player to turn sideways at the Ajani at least. Knocking Ajani down to 1, and then we'll go for Mardu Colours into Painful Truths. And hopefully we get into a land here. And yeah, get into a mountain, so we can hold up Path to Exile if we want to. I don't think I mind playing that during the next turn if we have to, so maybe it's just Lightning Greaves here, just for the sake of being efficient with mana. Yeah, the god's starting to come in full force now. Karametra, God of Harvests, and that will draw them a card with the Enchantress. We might have to make use of Merciless Eviction later on in the game here. Belligerent Sliver this time, giving Sliver's Menace. Not that many blockers in play anyway. Hopefully one of these will go in at Ajani, there we go. I think they have to deal it to a player to get the plus counter. Yeah, it's when it's dealt to a player, not a Planeswalker. And then 2 damage going in towards kills. So this green one will get a plus counter on it. Now Atraxa, Praetor's Voice coming into play. We're 1 land away from Mizzix's Mastery, and we've already got some good stuff in the bin. I think we'd only get 1 card from the Painful Truths, but still, it kind of cantrips the Mizzix's Mastery at least. Yeah, we'll get some removal there, but I don't think we're anywhere close to using that at the moment. Alright, another land in Arcane Lighthouse, so maybe we go for Dark Petition for that Merciless Eviction and drop the Aetherflux Reservoir, just to make our opponents not worry about the tutor anymore, because they'll probably assume that we tutored for this if we play it. Anyway, we'll drop the Arcane Lighthouse. Yeah, if we go Dark Petition, we'll get 3 mana, and then drop 1 into Aetherflux Reservoir, so that's 2, 3 and 5. Then we'll get 3, dump 1 more in, that leaves us with 2, so we can't get down Tymna. Maybe we just go Aetherflux Reservoir then. I think I would quite like Tymna in play at this point. So we'll go for Tymna, deal 3 damage to someone at random. And again, it seems to have gone in towards Atraxa. Now we'll put the Greaves over there because I'm not going to block anything. We'll turn the Tymna in towards the God. And Vial Smasher can go in down the middle. So let's see what we draw into first. Hitting each of our opponents as you would expect, so we gain 2 life and we'll put the 2 life into Tymna to draw some cards. Mythos of Snapdax, that's a card. We'll get rid of some slivers. Yeah, we don't really get rid of anything with Mythos actually, now that I think about it. We'll get rid of 1 god. Good for later on though. I think we just get down Aetherflux Reservoir here. Then let's put the Greaves onto the Vial Smasher. And we'll hold up our Path to Exile at this point. Another god in Krufix, God of Horizons, and they will get to draw a card, search for a forest or a plains, and put it into play tapped as well, thanks to the Karametra. And then Sylvan Library as well, kills getting into all the good cards. So a Mythos of Snapdax would definitely hurt him. I think it depends on what the other players do. Atraxa might do a lot next turn, so they might be worried about the god players over here, especially if they don't have much exile themselves. Luckily we do. Ooh, Bone Scythe Sliver is double strike on all the stuff, so I'm going to remove auto yields here. If they turn in sideways at us, I'm going to Path on the Bone Scythe Sliver. Or am I? If that gets wrapped up in a Mythos of Snapdax anyway, then maybe not. Yeah, coming in at us with everything. So that is 3, 5, 6, that's 12 damage. Is Atraxa going to get into another creature so we can get rid of their commander? I suppose we can always go Mizzix's Mastery as well to get rid of stuff. Yeah, let's go for Path onto the Bonescythe Sliver here. Make them regret turning in sideways at us. Oh, I forgot all about the Diffusion Sliver. Yeah, forgot all about that, so that gets countered. Total waste of a Path to Exile. Ugh, feels bad. We'll say we did it for the life from Aetherflux Reservoir. Yeah, so we take a big hit there, and it's a bunch of plus counters onto the slivers. I think we have to go for a board wipe because the fact that we've got both Vial Smasher and Tymna in play is probably ringing alarm bells for people just because of EDH stuff. And then the Aetherflux Reservoir probably makes them worry as well. Etched Oracle, alright, that's good, so that gets another creature into play. Atraxa flying in towards the God player. And proliferating, putting another counter on there. They can remove 4 to have a target player draw 3 cards, and it will survive in this instance if we decide to blow everything up. Okay, Pyroblast destroys an Atraxa, and that's about it, really, unless we decide to pay for this thing. I think we can swing in here. We'll go Vial Smasher down the middle, and if they decide to block with the Bone Scythe, then it's gonna die to the Vial Smasher anyway. So they probably won't block there. Let's go that into Billy Kills, and we can try and draw some more cards here. Hitting both of our opponents, so we get to draw a couple of cards. Say yes, and get into a Scrubland. So I think Exotic Orchard is just better there, because it will tap for all 3 of our colours. Now we could go for Immolating Gaia here, couldn't we? We'll have 5 creatures in the bin, and it allows us to keep our commanders that way, so instead of Mythos of Snapdax, let's go for Dark Petition here. That is going to deal 5 damage to someone. It doesn't tell me in the log who it deals the damage to, so I can't always keep track of who it is. There's 26, 28 and 48. Alright, I think it dealt it to the Atraxa player this time. Dark Petition will give us the 3 mana after the tutor. We'll go for Immolating Gaia. And that's some additional life from the Aetherflux Reservoir. Might be some form of indestructible or counter magic over here because they keep holding up mana, as well as priority. Okay, going for drawing 3 cards with the Etched Oracle, so it would have to be a Spell Pierce or something like that. Instead it lands. Athreos will have us Lightning Bolt ourselves to keep the Argothian Enchantress out of the way. We want them to be sinking life into Sylvan Library, really. So we'll take the 3. And then we are just holding up Pyroblast to counter a God or a Atraxa, I think. Morophon the Boundless coming into play now, and Karametra will allow him to ramp. And playing a Blind Obedience as well. We're not really a creature-based deck, so I don't think I care about that particularly. Essence Sliver for the Sliver player. Whenever this one deals damage, its controller gains that much life, so pretty much lifelink. Now, I'm going to have to play around the fact that I don't want the Atraxa player to scoop. I mean, with 9 cards in hand, he shouldn't, but don't know if I'll counter an Atraxa here. Okay, well, no need to worry about that anyway. Liliana, Death's Majesty. Still holding up the treasure and a blue mana, which is noteworthy. They keep doing that. And returning... Oh, the Atraxa went to the graveyard, so returning that back to the battlefield. So I think... I think we can go for Pyroblast onto that during their turn, see if they want to protect it with some kind of counter magic that they might have. And again, we'll gain a life and deal 1 damage to someone with the Smasher. Yeah, and there we go, that's exactly what I was worried about. I was thinking if they had a bunch of cards in hand, they've just got a Planeswalker down, then they might stick it out, but apparently not. I did say no early scooping in the lobby, but people just ignore that and act selfishly. So Pyroblast going down, and we'll get round to our turn. Okay, dropping a Swamp. Yeah, I was thinking of removing the Morophon so that we could get round with both Tymna and Vial Smasher, but I think I'll just go in at Big Oof here. And we'll draw at least 1 card. And that takes us into Orzhov's Signet, so we might be able to get that down this turn. I don't think we want to go for Mizzix's Mastery quite yet, so maybe Shreds of Sanity onto the Painful Truths. Maybe that'll be okay. So let's go for Terminate, and we'll grab the Dark Petition as well. Should really grab the Immolating Gaia, but I don't like the idea of one-sided board wipes over and over again. I did say that I wanted this to be a lower powered game. And yeah, why don't we just discard the Orzhov Signet instead of playing it this turn. Go for Dark Petition again for the sake of putting another sorcery into the bin. And let's see here. Maybe we should just grab the Merciless Eviction just in case Billy Kills goes nuts next turn. Yeah, we'll just grab that just in case. And then we'll go for the Terminate onto their commander. And that goes into the bin, so they can choose to keep it in the bin here if we're not going to pay for it. But instead deciding to put it in the command zone, so we don't have to pay the 3 here. It's not worth the risk for Kills to leave it in there. Then we've got 2 mana held up, but nothing to do with it, so yeah, let's just leave it there. Didn't realise how many cards Kills has in hand actually. He's up to 5 and has a Sylvan Library on the stack. Deciding to not sink any life into that though. Dryad of the Elysian Grove will fix his colours and allow him to make another land. Paying into the Extort to gain a bit of life. Iroas got a victory, and that animates the Karametra. So I would imagine that Karametra is going to come swinging in towards us. And this is what we need to start worrying about, is the gods becoming animated. Only 1 card left in hand for Kills, and that is a Rhystic Study. Can't pay the Extort cost. But Merciless Eviction is certainly going to hurt him here. And yeah, that comes in at us. A 6/7 with Menace. Gale Rider Sliver with Rhystic Study on the stack. That's one of the better ones that gives flying. The Sliver deck has been very unlucky getting into lands apparently. Anyway, paying 1 into the Rhystic Study. And then it's a 2 mana Sliver giving Kills a card. Leeching Sliver. Whenever a Sliver you control attacks, the defending player loses 1. And they do have a 3/3 with flying and sort of lifelink. But deciding to hold that back, so we get into another land. So I think we're okay to go for Merciless Eviction and then just turning sideways at Kills. Yeah, we could go for the Mythos of Snapdax, but then we'd lose our Tymna. I think we just go Merciless Eviction here. And the Vial Smasher will deal 6 to someone. I will let Billy Kills draw a card here just because he's going to get hosed by this, so hopefully he doesn't draw into free counter magic. 6 damage goes onto the Slivers. Then if we swing in at Kills, there's not really much point in swinging in with both, is there? So we'll hold back the Vial Smasher and we can chump block with a Boros Charm. Making that indestructible if we need to. Although actually they've got flying, haven't they? So scratch that. Probably should have just turned both in sideways then. Gain a life, draw a card. And it's another mountain for us, so yeah, we'll just hold up the Boros Charm. Can't really do much with it, unfortunately. Throwing out Morophon the Boundless again. And Xenagos, God of Revels, comes into play as well. I think we'll have to make use of Boros Charm here then. We'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the Slivers. So yeah, let's go indestructible here. And we'll shock someone with the Vial Smasher. The shock went onto the Slivers. So we'll just block the Morophon like that. Oh, and that counts as a Sliver, so they'll gain some life there. Yeah, I forgot about that. Some of the Slivers affect everything in play. So, yeah, jumping up to 29, then throwing down a Sol Ring. Yeah, that's going to be relevant, I think. So now these Slivers swing in, I assume, towards us. Yeah, swinging in at us, so we're going to take a big hit here. And they gain a nice chunk of life there, so I think it's time for us to stop playing nice. Because we've allowed Billy Kills to gain a big chunk of life, and the Sliver player is gaining life as well, which we really don't want in this deck. So it's round to our turn, and there is a Torment of Hellfire, speaking of not playing nice. 5 cards in hand over here, but hardly any lands. So that would be X is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be sacrifice these and this, discard their hand and take 3, maybe. And then kills would have to sack a load of stuff as well. Does this thing give haste? Yeah, plus X and haste, so let's drop a mountain. And just for the sake of doing something interesting, why don't we go Mizzix's Mastery instead? Against my better judgment. CMC is still 4 on that, so we'll deal 4 to someone. Okay, Cyclonic Rift going on the Ether Flux Reservoir, that's fine. I was thinking we need some of the red instants and sorceries that add mana to this deck, really. Mizzix's Mastery would go really well with stuff like that, and we could probably get the Ether Flux Reservoir out again straight away in a scenario like this. It's not imperative that we had the Ether Flux there, but obviously it would have been nice. Okay, so how's about Merciless Eviction on enchantments to get rid of the hasty Xenagos? We can Pyroblast the Gale Rider Sliver, terminate the Morophon, Path to Exile the Lifelink Sliver. Generous Gift can go on our Talisman, I think. Oh, and Painful Truths won't do anything because it cares about the number of colours. Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll just play it for 0. And then Boros Charm, I think will have to be 4 damage. Or we could just go Lifelink onto Tymna. Yeah, we'll put Double Strike on Tymna. Might as well gain some life with her. And then it can be Dark Petition. So we won't get the mana from Dark Petition, but it is free, so we'll be able to grab something here. We've only got 4 mana, haven't we? So 4 mana to do something. We'll just grab Jaya Ballard so that we can go for a big X into Torment of Hellfire here. Didn't really want to rely on that, to be honest, because it's not the flashiest of wins. It's actually pretty boring, but if our opponents are going to continue to fight back at us, then we're just going to have to go for that, I think. Giving the Sliver player a land, assuming that they've got basics in the deck. I recommend that everyone runs at least one of each basic, even in Wooburg decks like this. But they might not have one in a 5-colour deck. Yeah, they do. They get themselves into a Snow Swamp. And the other creatures go down. The God will be exiled. And let's put haste on the elephant. And we'll swing in at the Sliver player just to try and get rid of a player as quickly as possible. This will take them down to 9. Maybe should have gone in at kills as well, just for the sake of drawing another card. We draw into Debt to the Debtless. So let's encourage any removal to go in at Ether Flux Reservoir here. Put the Greaves back on Vial Smasher. And we'll send it back round the table. Oh well, but kills. Top decking into a Demonic Tutor. So he might still be able to do something yet. Hopefully it's not a wheel to get himself into a bunch of cards again, because we do have the Torment of Hellfire and Debt to the Debtless. Like I said before, could have gone for these and maybe that would have gotten us closer to a victory, but, well, Torment of Hellfire at least. I don't really want to rely on cards like that because I don't think it makes for very good viewing, but I'm sure I've annoyed some people not going for that when I had the chance. You can please some of the people some of the time and all that. Yep, and there is our Steer command going for creatures and artifacts. We will put them back in the command zone. So how much can we put into Torment of Hellfire next turn? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 into X. Or it would be 7 into Debt to the Debtless. So that would be 14 and definitely get rid of the Sliver player. Oh wow, the first Sliver. And okay, luckily that only gets them into Clot Sliver. And they can't afford to regenerate. So let's see here. Yeah, just another land for us, so let's go Isolated Chapel. Yeah, I'm not sure if 9 mana into X on Torment of Hellfire, they get rid of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so they either go down to 2 lands and... yeah, they could go down to 3 lands and stay at 1. Do we just go Debt to the Debtless to keep ourselves in it, in case we're worried about some hasty stuff? Yeah, let's just go Torment of Hellfire here. I was debating whether to go for Debt to the Debtless in case Kills gets down some hasty stuff, but I think we just have to take advantage of the fact that he doesn't have any cards. The Sliver player could stay in it here. If they get rid of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, they could just keep their creatures. But I don't think they can get rid of us next turn, so then we can go Debt to the Debtless and get rid of them. What did they have in hand? We knew about that one. They had Collective Unconscious, so yeah, they were going to draw at least a couple of cards there. Illusionist Braces, Ghostflame Sliver, and Sliver Hivelord. Yeah, so if they could have gotten into their lands much sooner, then they might have done better there. Kills goes down to 2 and then has to start sacrificing lands. Yeah, the Sliver player being forced out of the game there. I think he could have stayed in it by sacrificing his lands, but decided against it. So Kill still has a lot of mana here. Probably just going for his commander here, Morophon the Boundless. So we just go Debt to the Debtless here, and we can take out our opponent. Yeah, we get into D-Spark for the Morophon anyway. You never know, Kills might have some means of counter magic here, but we'll tap out into this anyway. X is 8, we drain for 16 and take Kills out, so yeah, he just had a land in hand there. We will reveal our hand as well. So that went quite well for Casey McClara there. A big thank you to him for supporting the channel, and for the other 3 players, including Billy Kills, also a patron of the channel, for supporting us and for playing the game today. Big thank you to Casey for providing the deck, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.